guys, welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to show you how to make this 8x8 vintage black and white canvas with the new stamps and dies from Stamps by Me. So grab a cuppa and watch and see if you fancy having a go at making one too. So for this project you are going to need the brand new stamp called Timeless Call Me, and this comes with a lovely vintage telephone box and a Big Ben. So in this packet you get the two stamps. Get the two stamps, and they have some script and various other funky designs around them. And we'll be using the telephone box today. And you also get the dies, and then on the back you've got the Big Ben die, the telephone box die, and then you've got all these sentiments in these beautiful arrows. So you've got positive, smile, happiness, dream, and then two plain ones. You will also need poppy elements. So this is a few months old now. It also comes with the dies, so we'll be using that as well. And we'll be using a recent stamp and die set called Old Time Postage Collection Stamps Set 2. So for this you're going to need well, I'm using a round canvas. You don't have to use a round canvas. You could even do it on a card. So this is an 8x8 round canvas. What I've done to begin with is I've printed a Union Jack onto a piece of rice paper. So I've left it on there just so you can see. I've left the top 2.5–3 inches plain. I've put some double-sided tape down and I've stuck my plain tissue paper to it and then put it in the printer. So I've just downloaded this free copy from the internet. Please be careful where you download these from, because they do have copyright, but there are loads of free ones, and then just tear it off ready to use. So that will fit my canvas like so. I'm not worried about the rip there because I'm going to give it a bit of a distressed edge. So first off you need some sort of decoupage glue. I'm using Imagination Crafts brand, but you can use anything you've got in your stash. And I'm just going to paint half the canvas with the glue. And then I'm going to place my tissue paper on that half, and then I'm going to smooth from the centre out. That's not quite over enough there, like that, and then I'm just going to smooth it out like so, and then I'm going to do the same on the other side. Gone a bit high now. Try again. I'm trying to cover the hole. There you go. That's got it. So working from the centre outwards. Just lift it carefully. There you go. And I'm just going to do that. Like so. So just put the brush in some water, put the lid on your glue, and I'm just going to give that a little bit of heat. Just take some of the stickiness off. And I'm just going to tear around the edges as I'm doing that, because I want a distressed look on the edge. Let me do that in a minute. I'll just pull off. So I'm just going to pull it off. I don't want it to be neat and tidy. I want this lovely distressed edge. Like so. So I've got that nice distressed edge there. Make sure it's still stuck down in places. There you go. If you've got bits hanging over the edge, just pull them off so you don't want it lifting. There we go. Alright, so I'm just going to give that a dry off. Then bring in your Eureka. And I'm going to take the foam out. And I'm going to pop the canvas in, and I'm going to use the magnets to keep that in place. So that will, as you can see, it'll still hold in place when I'm using my stamp. So for this one, we're going to use the telephone box. And I'm going to place it on the left hand side of my canvas. So I'm thinking about, yeah, about there, I'm thinking. And I'm going to use some Wow embossing powder on this one. So I need my Versamark ink pad. So Versamark ink pad onto the stamp. And I'll just give my canvas a little bit of dust. Like so. And I'm going to give that a good push because the canvas has a textured top, so I'm just making sure that I try and get a good, but all this for is for the outside detail. We won't see the main telephone box when we've finished. So I think that doesn't look too bad. So remove the canvas from your Eureka, place that to one side, and then go over the top with your black embossing powder, like so. That looks good. Like I say, I only really want the outside detail, so I'll just pop that back in the pot. Like so. Then get your heat tool nice and hot. And what you have to be careful here with is you don't hold it in the same position for too long, otherwise the tissue paper will bubble underneath. So if you see it bubbling, just move your heat tool and then go back to it in a minute. So my gun's nice and hot. So I'm just going to move your glue gun around slowly till you can see it's taken. And like I say, if you see the rice, the tissue paper bubbling, just move the gun and then you can go back to it. So you'll see your embossing powder turn from a matte to a bit more of a shiny black. There we go. So I've only really done round the outside there, and I'm just going to give it a brush off. There we go. Okay. So next what you're going to need is your old-time postage and a smallish acrylic block. And I'm going to just do some random stamping around the outside. So I'm going to use my VersaFine black for this, and I'm just going to go around the outsides, doing half on, half off, with different stamps. It doesn't matter if you stamp over your embossing ink, like so. So I've done that one. Zoom out a little bit more. Zoom out a little bit more. There we go. And I'm gonna do old-time postage. So making sure it's the right way round. I'm just going to join that and then I think I'll use the wavy line as well. It's like the postage mark that you get. So I'm just doing it randomly round the outside. And I'm going to use the crown as well. So just pop your crown on the block. That's on the side. Right, there you go. And again, just onto your ink, and then it's just randomly. It doesn't matter if it doesn't stamp right, because you want it looking a bit distressed. So I'm just going to leave that like that. So next, what you need to do is stamp and die cut your telephone box. So I've done this twice, and the first time I've just cut it on its own. The second time I cut it fully, but I've cut it into 3 sections. And this is to give the telephone box some dimension. So what I've done is I've just put some grey board on the back, and I'm just going to use some wet glue. And I'll just layer that on top. This is just to give your project some dimension. If you want to colour your telephone box, you can do. But I'm in a black and white mood today. So our telephone box here now, see, has got some dimension. We're not going to use that. That bit can go in the bin. And what we're going to do, we're going to place that over the original telephone box where we've stamped already onto the canvas. So use some good glue. I'm using a high-tack glue for this. And I'm just going to make sure that's in place and push it down. So next you want to stamp, colour and die cut your poppies. So I've already done that, and mine are grey. And you will also need But you don't have to use some Sizzle. So I've got some Sizzle, and I only ever buy cream and I just spray it to the colour that I want. So I've sprayed mine black. So, and I'm going to use a hot glue gun here for this, for the Sizzle. So I just plug that in a minute. Leave that warm up whilst I... So what I'm going to do is just have a dry run of where I want to put my flowers. So I'm not worried about this bit, but I want to have a nice decoration by the side with my poppies. Put that one there. I always like to have a bit of a dry run. So I quite like that. And I've got the poppy heads here. And put that down. I might take that one out. Don't know if that's too many. Yeah, it might be nice just like that. So I've got my poppy heads there. And then I've got some leaves I can put in as well. So I'm going to wet glue these ones. They will hold nicely there. And I'm going to wet glue this one as well. So it's slightly under the telephone box, like so. And I'll pop that one there, and again I'll use some wet glue for that one. Like so, there. Then I'm going to use some grey board now for these next pieces. And I'm going to use my glue gun just to hold some Sizzle in place. So I'm just going to put a little bit of glue there. Just pull it. I don't want a huge amount of Sizzle, but I just want a little bit in between those layers, and I'll just put a little bit of grey board on top. That'll hold that in place. There you go. I'm going to put another little bit of grey board to the side there for my next poppy. So just put some wet glue on, and I'm just going to tuck that in there like so. And then that one I'm going to put there, so I need another little bit of grey board. So I'll just pop that straight onto the poppy. Needs to be that side. Like that. So that's given us some dimension there. Just going to lift that bit up, and I'm going to put that one there then. So I'm going to use a little bit more Sizzle. I'm going to put that there, so I'll just put some glue there. I'll pop my Sizzle in, and I'll just put a little bit of grey board over the top, just to hold it in place. Some wet glue on that one for my poppy, just like that, under there, like so. And then I've got some leaves, which I could have coming outside of the out of the telephone box, but there. I might tuck that one down. I might just have them by there like that. And I might have these two this side, I think. Like so. Like so. I'm just going to put this one flat at the bottom there. Like so. Then I'm going to use my blender, and I'm just going to use a bit more ink on there. So I'm just going to darken the edge a bit. Just with a bit of memento. With these beautiful blending brushes. Like so. And if you want to, you could do more random stamping on it, or you could add your colour. You don't have to do it black and white. So I've got some lovely sequins here as well, so I'm just going to add a few sequins. So I'm going to go for the shiny silvery one, just to give it a little bit of sparkle. Just going to add some here and there. And again, I'm just using the high-tech glue for this. You could add your micro beads, anything you've got in your stash. Like so. And then I'm going to use some of the darker black ones in places as well. But I'm doing them not so they're sticking out too much, just tucked up underneath the artwork. There you go. So there we have our mini 8x8 canvas. With the vintage telephone box. So thank you for calling by, and I'll see you again soon. Thanks, bye.